I just finished a book on Tuesday, which is about misfits. So what we can learn from misfits in the black market economies and the informal economy, and then also really a message that was rather surprising for us about how you could learn about your own internal misfitness and what makes you unique and authentic, and how people today can draw that out more from themselves. Yeah, and I'm also today, this is my first attempt to be a bit elastic in my identity by dressing up as an Amish futurist and experimenting with being a bit of a technological Luddite. Ironic that I'm being interviewed with so much technology, but yeah, talking to people today about technology and the role of technology in human agency and human development. I grew up as a child reading like Greek myths and feeling like I wanted to be immortal or that I could have all these special powers. So more, not impossible, more like magical impossible, like literally this is fantasy that cannot occur. But I think a lot of my ideas tend to come from that place of this sort of dreamlike quality, like, you know, something otherworldly epiphany that comes into your life and you're just like, oh, I need to devote some energy to this. So yeah, I mean, our book project, I've always wanted to write a book, and we did it in a year, and we had no expertise in the field, and it was just amazing. I mean, we just spoke to probably over 2,000 people for this book, and yeah, at times it felt really impossible, but it just, yeah, it felt really human as well. I think it's a. Do you ask? Can I ask you questions as well? Do you ask that question? Because I think there's a danger in thinking about trying to always achieve the impossible. Like, I think so many people, particularly in the US, are so masochistic in pursuing the impossible dream. This is built into the founding narrative of America, and it's a bit problematic, right? So you had all these people that came to this country that had this impossible idea to start a new country, and they moved westward, and they were conquerors, and they were, you know, bootstrap rhetoric and all this kind of thing, and that lives on today. So you have all these people who are frantically trying to pursue these impossible and rather masochistic dreams. And yeah, so I think it's a bit dangerous, like how we encourage people in that behavior. I think it's important to dream and to really push the boundaries of what you feel comfortable with. But I think a lot of the most impossible things that you can take on or encounter are not about trying to sort of one-up something or, you know, game a system or do something really difficult. It's really about challenging yourself psychologically and pushing yourself in ways that feel impossible to you at a personal level, ways that feel like you're challenging your identity, you're challenging these narratives that we're born into. So I think impossibility is more about getting outside of a certain mindset, or getting outside of what the box is that we're all told to be living in, even if that box is like the impossible box, right? Like, all entrepreneurs are told, like, have that great idea, be crazy, go accomplish it, and then that everyone is pursuing that with this mentality that I think is not very helpful. It's very conformist sometimes. I think it's just really being, I mean, it's the misfit work, right? So it's being in tune with what you're feeling, what makes you feel authentic, what makes you come alive, and just challenging yourself. And explore, you know, I think preserving this sense of like awe and wonder and discovery in yourself, as opposed to feeling like you're doing something impossible that comes from an emotional standpoint of like, I have to do this because, you know, otherwise no one will love me, or I'm worthless, or, you know, the different like psychoanalytic kinds of reasons that people sometimes do things which aren't always the best. Yeah, like a lot of the people that do impossible things in history, they're madmen. Like, psychologically they have like these narcissistic personalities, or they're just kind of like fucked up in a lot of ways. So I don't think that's like the road that we should be preaching for everyone. Today I'm dressed up in Amish garb, and I'm trying to push the boundaries of my own self. It's a bit silly to wear a bonnet around, and in New York no one really looks at you twice, but I think I've never been comfortable with performance. Like, I've never been comfortable not being myself or having to sort of put on a show or be really aggressively attention-seeking in that way. So I think it's really great to sort of get in touch with these improvisational kinds of instincts, and not knowing what you're going to say, or, you know, being in character gives you license to explore a different aspect of your identity that you didn't really realize. So it's those kinds of like movements that I'm interested in, I guess, now. It feels good right now. It feels like today I've been really connected to people in a way that I normally maybe am not, because I have such an agenda sometimes. So I've just been wandering around today rather listlessly, talking to people about technology and talking to people about meaning and just having these more philosophical conversations. And yeah, I thought this would actually be a bit of a buffer between people. I thought it would make it more difficult to connect, but it's sort of having the inverse effect. I don't know why that is. Like, if I talk to myself in this outfit, I would be like skeptical of that person. But yeah, it feels like I'm having these great sort of intimate exchanges with people. I think when you're a bit vulnerable, other people can just be really comfortable too. So when you get out of your routine of trying to be like this perfect superhuman, that goes back to the impossible thing. Like, if we're all dressed up as like Supermans, then you're not really relatable to other people. So I think when you're a bit silly, or when you break yourself down, I think it's easier for people to sort of to work with you and collaborate, and they don't feel like they have to be a puffed up identity in the same way. I'm reading all these books about how we cannot have a relationship with the future because it's just a projection, or, you know, this, I don't know. I think I'm just excited about having a very grounded time in the present. Like, if my wish for the future is one of just being more present and being, continuing on this, what's been an amazing year and really exploratory experience, and yeah, definitely.